Okay, welcome back to Chatsford Garage. In this episode, I'm going to introduce you to George. George is our Caravan. He's a late 70s New Zealand made Zephyr, 13 feet long, sleeps 3, and recently we had some major issues with George. So when we bought George, he was a bit rough on the outside. We stripped it back to bare aluminium, did a bunch of prep work and sanding and whatnot, and painted him, made him look really nice, got some nice original style wheels to put back on, and that was all good. A couple of camping trips later, we were down in the South Island and the front window fell out while we were driving. It was really strong wind. It was a bit of a weird situation. We had a hell of a story, but there was a glazier that put it back in for us roadside, and he said the glass was cut undersized so it could move side to side, and it had the wrong rubber, so it fell out easily. So we got all that fixed, got the glass cut to the right size, got the right rubber on it, and then on the very next camping trip it fell out again. So then we had to start asking some bigger questions about what was going on here. Started poking around and found that these corners were all rotten. So that was about 6 months ago, maybe a bit more, and I started stripping out the interior, and then of course the Galaxy arrived and it got put on hold while I started working on the Galaxy. We're into June now and wanting to go camping again this summer in January, so I need to start making some moves on getting this sorted. There's a huge amount of work to go in there. We're basically going to be doing a complete interior reline, repairing any rotten timber. I'm expecting there to be some around the door. There's a rotten section on the floor that I've got to replace, and I've had a new drawbar made up for it as well, which I'll talk about a bit more later. So because I haven't worked on this for so long, it's stored full of crap. So I'm going to start by cleaning it out and getting myself some access again so that I can get ready to cut out the rotten bit of floor. Okay, welcome inside George. It's pretty small in here for the whole family, but it does the job for us. We're going to do a bit of a reconfiguration to make it fit our family of 4. Basically, what I've done so far is stripped out the beds. Normally there's a bed over there and a bed down here and a set of drawers in the middle. So I pulled all of that out. There's a cabinet up here that we've taken out, stripped off the lining, and found that all the way down through all those corners was absolutely rotten and just pulls apart, crumbles, absolutely stuffed. The aluminium sheeting along the front has corroded around all of the, I guess it had staples holding it to the bottom of the frame, so that was all disconnected. These bottom corners have rotted themselves off the floor. So once I took out the beds, the whole front of the Caravan started swaying from side to side, which is why I've got a little bit of bracing here to hold it together now. I suspect this was a couple of big bumps away from completely collapsing on itself, and you would never have known. It all looked pretty mint. But what it means is that I've got a huge job ahead of me now. So far I've pulled all of the rotten stuff out and templated up some replacement bits. Now, old Caravans like this are made out of untreated timber, and the reason for that is because it has a galvanic corrosion reaction between the copper in the chemicals that they use for treating the timber and the aluminium of the cladding. So if you use treated timber without putting a barrier in between, then you'll end up corroding your aluminium cladding. So what I'm using is I have got some untreated laminated plywood basically in the correct thickness, and I can cut the profiles that I need, bang that in, and Bob's your mother's uncle. But the next job that I want to get on with is replacing the floor. The floor's not bad, it's all pretty solid, but just in these corners along the edge there, it's just a bit spongy, and that's what the rest of the Caravan attaches to. The top of it just screws down onto the floor, so I want to make sure that that is good. So I've drawn a line across here where I'm going to cut it, I've got a replacement piece of treated ply for the floor, and I'll get on with chopping it out. It's a pretty daunting thing to do, to chop a big section out of the floor on this, but I'm confident and hopeful that if I just get on and do it, I'll be able to put it back together if I just keep working on it. So try not to get scared. One thing that I am a little bit concerned about is this vinyl flooring. I don't know if it has asbestos in it or not, so I'm just going to treat it like it does and be careful not to turn it into dust, basically. So I'm going to, what I'm planning to do this cut, because I don't want to just rip into it with my circular saw and basically turn it to dust, so I'm going to cut either side of my cut line with a standing knife and work along it with a chisel and take off the vinyl flooring in controlled pieces. I'll wear a mask while I'm doing that, and yeah, then I can go through and turn the wood to dust, hopefully without generating any asbestos dust. Not that I know it's there, I'm just being careful and treating it as if it is. Yeah, big job. That's a terrifying project, this one, but I've just got to keep moving forward with it, I think, is the key here. Not get disheartened and just keep plodding along. Alright, this weekend I am back in George the Caravan, continuing with my quest to chop out the rotten section of floor. So I have bought myself a new chisel and I've been tapping away across here. Carved out that's sharp. Carved out a nice furrow where I want to run the saw, and I might have mentioned in the last video that's because I don't know what the vinyl floor is made up of, so I'm treating it with caution and trying not to turn it to dust. So tapping with this, I've just got some nice big chunks that I can throw in the bin, and don't have to worry about it being an airborne dust all through the caravan that we have to sleep in later. So now I've got my furrow that's all clean of vinyl, and I can figure out how exactly I'm going to chop it. I'm thinking for the bulk of it, the circular saw with the depth stop on it will be key, because I don't want to go running a saw blade into the chassis rails under there. That'll make a noise. Not good. Okay, getting a moment of truth for doing this cut. I've got my Hitachi battery powered circular saw. This thing chongs through the batteries and it's pretty gutless, but I'll give it a go. It'll save me running a lead. I've set the depth stop on it just shy of 12mm. I'm pretty sure it's 12mm ply, but we'll soon find out when I hit one of the chassis rails. And yeah, we'll give it a nudge. No turning back. Well, I suppose there was no turning back when I did all of this, but just one more step, keep moving forwards. Oh, fogging up my glasses. Can't see. My batteries aren't in great condition these days either. There's one down. Okay, that's that done. And then to get out to the edges, I am going to have to run a lead out here. I'll use my little multi-tool, noisemaker extraordinaire. I hate that thing, but it's a necessary evil. Finding all the tools that I've lost. I've been looking for my compound square for ages. It's just out here, along with all my Stanley knives. Oh back to the noise. Better have a look and see what I'm going to be cutting into under there. Oh, here we've got some steel work that we'll find. Microphone connected. I've got a flash new microphone. Hopefully you can hear me with my mask on now. So now that I have done the cut with the circular saw, I'm just working my way back along it with this to get through that last ½ millimetre without damaging the blade on that. And it seems to be working quite well. Alright, that's that cut through. Now what? At least these got to come out. But that's also my bracing that's holding up the wall. What are those wires for? Uh-oh. How good are these noisy bloody multi-tools? Alright, that's the first section of the floor chopped out. Bit of work in that. That's pretty terrifying. That is a big hole in the floor. Okay, so to take out this next section of floor, I've got to pull out my bracing, which is what's keeping the whole front of the Caravan together at the moment. So I'm going to add a bit more bracing from there over here to help keep it square while I take that out. Yeah, I think that'll work. That will be better than nothing. I feel like I'm going to fall through this floor. Not as good as it was, but it's better than nothing. One floor removed. Allow myself to catch my breath a wee bit. Bring you in for a closer look. So that is the front section of the floor removed. All the steelwork here is in surprisingly good nick, which I'm very happy about. No rust repairs required there. Front of the aluminium's absolutely stuffed. I'm not quite sure what I'm going to do with that. Whether I rivet a patch on, probably the best thing to do. Just unused piece, that bottom 50mm, maybe. Oh, that was hard work, I'm out of breath. I've got some stuff here that's still pretty rotten down here in the corners, so I'll have to replace that section, which I was anticipating because I cut some of it out already. Not quite so bad on the other side. But definitely still some work to do there. And the next thing to do will be to get the grinder out, because I want to replace this drawbar. There's a new one on the floor down there, just waiting to be installed. And still a little drawbar waits. Alright, so I've got one of my mates organised to come and give me a hand to weld on the new drawbar. I can weld stuff together, but he can weld stuff together well. And the drawbar is not something that I want to have fall off. So I'm just working through some dodgy tactics at the moment to get the thing up as high as I can for us to work on that underneath. The idea being that we can get around some of the top welds while I've got the section of floor cut out. So it's held up on some jack stands at the moment. I've got some blocks of wood under my lifty thing. What's that called? What is that thing called? Mind blank. I'll remember it in a second. So we can jack it up a bit higher anyway. Other way. What the hell is it? Dad always gives me a hard time because my trailer doesn't have one. Jockey wheel. There we are. Lift it up with the jockey wheel. Now I've already got some axle stands under the back of it, so while I'm lifting this, it's just going to be lifting off the back of the frame while it's sitting on the axle stands. Much safer than using the trolley jack. Wow, what a horrible noise that makes though. Oh, it's getting worse. That is a noise. Jeepers. Luckily, the new drawbar is going to have a new jockey wheel, because this old thing's always been horrible. Take the weight back off that dodgy arrangement. Wheels are off the ground. It's as stable as the body is stiff. All that movement is in the timber. Here we are. Berkey, over to you. Alright, she's sitting on a bit of a lean, and the axle stands at the back are on the parallel. So I'm a little bit worried that it might slide, given the opportunity, and tip off these ones. Although these are sturdy as, I really don't think it's going anywhere. I'm kind of tempted to bring it back up to level. Feels pretty solid inside. All things are flexing. What the hell happened there? How did that happen? Let's not do that. I think it's pushed the whole, tipped the whole caravan. Oh, George, you are very fragile at the moment. Man, there is just no strength in this thing at the moment. So what happened there was I backed it, put the jack under the chassis rail on this corner, and it sort of pushed the back of the top up while I've got the stands under the front. Kind of rolled the whole caravan forward and squashed this front corner of the cladding. This thing is absolutely terrifying to work on, as far as not doing something that just makes it cave in on itself. Let's not do that again. We'll work on it where it is. Alright, well that's about all the terror that I'm willing to endure from working on this thing today. As you probably figured out, I'm well out of my depth and well out of my comfort zone with this project, but I've got to get it done because it'll cost too much to pay someone to fix it. The caravan's worth absolutely nothing as it is at the moment, and we want to go camping again, so I have no option but to press on and get this project done. We've got 6 months till Christmas, less than that now, and we're going to want to go camping. Also with the Galaxy, so that's 2 projects to knock out by Christmas. It's a lot of work. See how we go.